Greetings from Aspen, Colorado and Denver, Colorado.
Superior.
All right. We're here
Close enough.
tonight for the welcome listeners, viewers, wherever you may be. This is the second of the JAS Listen Up 2021 virtual interview series with some of our very, very best artist friends, people that we have known for many, many years, actually. We've had a good time doing this series in recent years associated with our small venue jazz cafe performances. Generally, we've been doing these right before the show, people that are coming in to hear a show, and then we do a little interview, generally right on the stage. Not generally, always. That was until COVID. And now we've pivoted, like many situations in this unusual time, and have taken the Listen Up series virtual and online. And so here we are, though, live. My name is Jim Horowitz. I'm the founder and president and CEO of JAS, Jazz Aspen Snowmass, founded in 1991. This is our 30th year, amazingly. Started here in Aspen, Colorado. And my guest tonight is a wonderful drummer, percussionist, and band leader, Dave Watts. And he is the founder of an incredible, incredible band, which has gone through a wonderful evolution of its own that we're going to talk about here tonight over many years. But I'm going to go right back to the beginning, and then we're just going to kind of meander through the musical world of the mind of Dave Watts and the Motet. So if you studied your Motet history, you would note that the Motet's first performance was Halloween night in 1998, which must have been a very, very interesting evening. And Dave, I'm always interested in the roots of where people came from, especially artists. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you remember about that night and the conception, the birth, that moment when something started, and you could never have imagined where the journey would lead you to from that night. But look back and what happened that night?
Oh man. You're starting off strong, Jim. I appreciate that. Now I gotta really think.
By the
it's
way,
one of those nights that can be a little difficult to remember, to be honest with you, but there's some special moments for sure. But I mean, there's kind of more of a, as far as my being a part of the Colorado music community, there's a little bit of a lead up to that night. I will say that night was definitely formative in that that was the night that I started this concept, sort of officially, the first official gig. And it was called the Dave Watts Motet at that point. But I had been in Boston from the mid 80s to about 94, playing in a so-called jam band out of Boston called Chakra. And we used to tour Colorado, and we used to play at the Fox. We were actually the second band to play the Fox Theater. Wow. The first band was the Funky Meters for 2 nights. Then they did a free show with us in Boulder. If people don't know where that is, Fox Theater in Boulder, great venue.
Which goes right to those roots of the Motet and funk music and dance music. So there it was on that first.
Yeah. But when we did that show, Boulder was just popping off. I mean, it was incredible. That the Fox Theater was sold out. Next door, Tulagi was sold out. Taylor's was sold out. I mean, these venues like Tulagi had been around since the 1950s.
Wow.
My stepfather had gone there when he was in college in the 50s. The Boulder Theater was sold out, and there was a lot of kind of hippie rock bands playing in Colorado at the time. But man, we did that first show. And that was the first of, I guess that show was in maybe 92. And that was the first of 3 or 4 shows we played there before I moved. But every time we came, it was just equally as good, if not better. And I just saw what a great community Boulder was and how beautiful Colorado was. And Boulder itself sitting right there on the mountains. And me living in Boston and having to drive back from Colorado back to the snow and the just dirty city, you know what I mean? And the dog eat dog vibe of Boston, And when we came to Boulder the first time, the sound guys all came out of the back of the venue, the Fox Theater. Just, hey guys, what's
Mhm.
happening? Come on in. You know what I mean? Like smiling. I was like, what's happening right now? Why
Mhm.
are you so happy? You know what I mean? Like back in Boston, it's like a lot of grumpy faces, especially in the winter, you know?
Sure.
So eventually I'm staying, you know, basically said I'm staying. So around 94, I moved out and started building up a community of players, making phone calls, just getting different guys to come over and jam at the house and that sort of thing, not making a big deal about gigs. But honestly, I was playing just about every night of the week between Boulder, Nederland, Lyons, Long, all the little Front Range. But in the mid 90s, not one gig in Denver. Like there wasn't a gig to be had in Denver.
Hmm.
The scene there was barren, you know.
Hmm.
But in Boulder, there was a venue called the Mountain Sun. I don't know, have you heard of this? The Mountain
I
Sun
have
Pub,
not. I have
Mountain
not.
Sun Brewery. They've expanded since to 4 or 5 locations. But they put on, you know, we used to play every Sunday there free, but they used to put on a Halloween show. And so in 98, they called me to be the band for their Halloween show that they do at a warehouse up in North Boulder. And so at that point, I've been doing gigs around town, playing with different guys, playing with the guys in String Cheese. They had just started out. This is 1998. They had just been playing for a few years. But I had met them down in Telluride. Actually introduced Kyle to Kang and made that connection for them. So we were part of this whole community in Boulder, and I got a call to do this gig, and I've been playing Dave Watts Trio, Dave Watts Quartet, Dave Watts Quintet. You know, I was like so tired of changing the poster. I was like, I'm just gonna call this Dave Watts Motet, and that was my first gig under that name, Mountain Sun Halloween Party. Back in those days, acid jazz was all the rage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Acid jazz was big in the Bay Area.
Like
Guys like Charlie.
name a band that would have been somebody then that you would have.
Well, Charlie
looked
Hunter
for.
and the guys in Charlie Hunter's band were
Right.
all part of the acid jazz scene, and Ubiquity Records out of San Francisco had a lot of groups that were doing that. Even Galactic had that vibe in the first records. You know, Medeski Martin would take jazz songs and funkify them for their records, you know, every now and then. So that was kind of the idea, having come from Berkeley and loving jazz music and realizing that you could play in a way that created a dance audience, but maintained the improvisation.
Right.
You
So
know?
you're going right to where I wanted to jump into, because we're talking around, but your music, the band's music, which has evolved, of course, through different iterations, but at its heart, or maybe core, you could say, what are the elements? Well, it's definitely still dance music, definitely some blend, like a recipe, some blend of funk and jazz and rock and a little soul sauce maybe. And then at different times, the band has had a real strong world music influence.
Yeah.
I remember in the earlier years when Scotty Messersmith was around, and you did that, and you did the Cuban. There was a bunch of Cuban music, because he went and I think he went down to Cuba. I don't know if you went and studied.
We all did,
studied that cool Santeria music and the Motet, and so talk about this blend that's at the core of what the group is about and has
well I think it's really due to the fact that all the players I've had in the group, and still we're all curious musicians, you know what I mean? We don't come from one place. I could see if you were born and raised in New Orleans, that's what you do, you know what I mean? Or if you're born and raised in Havana, that's what you do. Or in New York City, you know, it's like play straight ahead jet, you know what I mean? There's different areas that have a really solid cultural identification with certain genres. But for all the guys in our group, I've lived all over the East Coast. I didn't grow up feeling identified with one particular thing, but so many things that have come into my ears have grabbed my attention and grabbed my curiosity that I've wanted to pursue it. We're all hungry in that way, and we all want to educate ourselves. Personally, I like the cultural side of things too. So Afrobeat and Afro-Cuban and Afro-Brazilian music all like get me, really interested in where it comes from, where the roots are, and how these rhythms developed. And even New Orleans music, how that developed through the African roots. So that's always been there, and that's why we moved on from acid jazz in the early days. We did that, and we sort of like, when I met Scott, started to lean into some of this Afro-Cuban stuff, because as a percussionist, obviously he was really intrigued by all the Bata rhythms of Santeria and the Dunduns of West Africa, and all the batucadas of Brazil. So it's just every time we had a different member join the group, it'd be like, oh, what are you into? What's that you dig? And we just kind of start to shift gears, and it always makes things, and has made things fresh for us. And exciting.
Guys, would you say that I appreciate the broad and eclectic taste that everyone has, but I'll ask a question about the jazz part.
Yeah.
Are most of the people that have been in the Motet through the years still, if you said, hey, let's just play a standard in any particular, let's just play some jazz, or most of the cats that have been in the Motet, that would be fine, as long as
100%. Yeah. I mean, not everybody who's in the band has played jazz a lot, such as our percussionists didn't necessarily study straight ahead, but all the guys in the band now, and I would say 80-something% of the guys who have been in the band, absolutely, like, it's almost like where you cut your teeth.
Sure.
But it's not necessarily what you want to try. And for us, what we've wanted to try to bring to the masses, and how we want to write, for us, writing has always been exciting in a sort of more funk. And I'd say, honestly, when we've really been prolific in writing, it's been in the funk genre, soul, funk, maybe R&B, rock. But even when we were doing the Afro-Cuban, it was more traditional, like where all the, percussion elements was more traditional. We weren't necessarily writing in that vein, although we've gotten into electronic music. We went through a whole phase of playing electronic music, but that was still very informed by funk,
right?
And Afrobeat, but then Afrobeat's informed by funk. So honestly, it's like funk tends to be at the root level of what we're excited about performing live, and the jazz is like how we learn to play our instruments.
Well, the funk music is the dance, is really where that dance groove comes from.
Yeah. I mean, as a drummer, that's how I know I'm doing the right thing, when I see people dancing and I see that, this kinetic energy coming from the audience.
Have you ever been sitting behind the drums at a Motet gig and looked out and seen people not dancing?
That's what's so weird about right now, because that's what's happening right now, is like they're telling people not to dance. I'm like, what is going on? It's such a weird experience.
Well, no, they're not saying, they're just saying don't dance too closely.
No, you believe it or not, there are people.
They're COVID
dance. They're making people not dance.
Police.
Yes, it's crazy.
Well, explain well, hold on. So they would say, excuse me, sir, but this is a no dancing area, or the Motet has requested, out of concerns for the spread of COVID, that you do not dance at tonight's performance.
I've never heard it been laid on us like that, which is
I
fortunate.
hope not.
It's the venue's prerogative, but there are venues out there who feel like it's too dangerous to allow dancing, and that I feel like I'm in a movie. You know what I mean?
Sounds like you sound like a preacher in the 1860s. You know, don't dance. You know, the devil's gonna get a
That's
hold
right.
of you, son.
Exactly. Yeah, it's evil. I don't know. It's a strange time. You know this. You know it's a strange time.
I do. That I know. Well, let's shift a little bit here. I was just doing a little research on your background and evolution, and something caught my eye somewhere that I don't know which one of your how you all counted this, but that you or the music of the group, whatever, has been, you've had 20 million streams of something that is connected to the Motet. That's a pretty significant number. And
Yeah.
and so I was curious because it's such a different world now, and streaming, of course, is a word that's taken on a whole new meaning in this current COVID paralysis that we're in as far as live music is concerned. So
Yeah.
I'm curious what you think. How does the streaming of music look to you right now, and what do you see coming with it after, even post-COVID? And for yourselves, and how important do you think this is going to change the amount of actual streaming that's part of your footprint, and just how do you see it changing your world and the music world?
Yeah, I think that people are doing that, streaming more and more these days. Absolutely, using Spotify. YouTube has a music streamer now. The way the apps are set up on the phone, so you can do it. I mean, I do it all the time now. Stream, while I'm driving, and just put on records I mean, the way you can organize records with streaming, like on an app such as Spotify, is incredible. When I was a kid, I'd have to go to 4 different music stores to find that one obscure Zeppelin record I really wanted to find. When I got that album, I'd put it on and listen to it for a month. Now it's like every Zeppelin record and all the live ones are on Spotify. You just go there and you can make a playlist of all your favorite songs. You know what I mean? Every Zappa record, which is incredible to believe, is all on there. So I think more and more people are realizing that streaming, especially compared to radio, is the way. It will never replace live music. In fact, I don't like streaming our live shows at this point. We're doing some live shows, side projects, and coming up with Motet. But I just think it's kind of a diss to the people that have paid for a ticket to offer a free stream or a $5 stream or a pay-as-you-go stream, which is hit or miss, sonically and energetically for sure. But I don't like honestly, I don't like the live streaming aspect of what we've had to deal with over the last so many months. And, I understand if people, that's their means to be able to get to see music, but I would certainly hope that it would not get in the way of live music moving forward, where people would choose to stay at home and watch music on their couch as opposed to go to a show. I'll always be a live musician. I'll always want to play in the club versus, focus my career on playing in a studio, which is what it feels like,
Yeah, I don't personally think it's possible that the live music experience will go away. It's too unique. It's too powerful, and people aren't, even if have had their brains and lives scrambled and rearranged by COVID and the experience of separation, still the collective experience that so many human beings have shared already is gone too far. It's going to come back viciously. I do think what you say about live streaming is interesting, and does it quote, not undermine, but does it, is it cheapen somehow the, hey, it's $40 to go to it's $40 to walk in the door for live, but it's $5 if you're at home on your couch. And
Right.
is that right? Well, I give it to you two ways, or two thoughts that I have about it. One is, there are some people for whom going actually to the club is not practical, or going out to hear live is not practical for a variety of reasons.
Right.
Whole variety of reasons, from personal health to distance to money to a lot of things. And I think that as a presenter or an artist, and you want your music to connect to as wide an audience as possible, within reason, anything that can widen your audience is a good thing.
Right.
Anything that broadens the audience for the music thing. I would then say, probably at the end of the day, what really makes sense is that the price ultimately has to come into there. Hopefully over time, there will be some balancing that to where, live music experience on its face is worth more than sitting
Yeah.
and watching it on it is worth more.
Absolutely.
The only question is, what's the number, so to speak, and everyone in every experience probably will have a different number,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
imagine that, but I don't see as good as streaming could be, and as good even as potentially down the road, even if you could really be assured of great fidelity, and great sound quality,
Yeah.
because all the presenters really learned it and learned how to transmit it, and streaming just got so good, and the price was still reasonable. And even if all those things happened, the streaming thing from home of a live event wouldn't really work if there weren't people sitting there, I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
creating the vibe of live, for the artist and for the audience. That's part of it. It seems
Yeah.
odd to me to call it a live. What's a live? Okay, I guess in some cases live streaming is, here's a group and they're sitting on they're at the Fox Theater, and they're performing in this moment live, and we're streaming it because no one can come into the Fox Theater. I guess that's, quote, a live stream, but it's not the same as streaming a live show live, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. Live concert. I mean, there's no sort of replacing Red Rocks at capacity as far as the energy goes. You know what I mean? There's just cannot.
Any venue at capacity.
Yeah.
But Red
Right.
Rocks especially.
Right. Yeah. And so I just, we need people to show up at the gigs. And sometimes you just, I guess it's a paradigm shift at times, when people started streaming music, like we were talking about before, from Spotify, there was a lot of resistance from the musicians about not selling your album anymore, or selling it at a streaming rate, which is way different than selling a physical CD.
Right.
But now that paradigm shift has happened, which has been, it took a couple of years, people to accept it. I think it's helped, and so maybe in a similar way, the ability for live streaming to become more widespread and easier for people who, like you said, can't attend a concert will only help. Mm-hmm. Maybe it'll make people that don't go to the concert really want to go to the next one. You know what I mean? Who knows? But getting the music out there is certainly like as important as anything. So I don't know. For me, it's like, I guess part of me is a little bit like, we've done some live streaming without the audience there, and it feels like a studio session, which is like not the same thing. And you know what I mean? I can't compare it, and to have lights going, the whole thing without the audience is like, it's just odd, So, I'm 100% looking forward to, our next show with JAS Aspen.
Mm-hmm. Well, which by the way is scheduled, with our fingers and toes crossed, for June 26th. That's that last weekend of June. Almost 30 years to the day from the first notes that were cast. So
Really? No, that's
yeah,
exciting.
and yeah, it is. And the motet is scheduled for what really should be. We could rename the place the House of Funk for that weekend, because the three groups that are scheduled to perform at Belly Up as part of the JAS June 30th anniversary experience, which is a format that you have not seen here. We totally changed it in 2019.
Okay.
Ever after 10 years of our June festival at the Benedict Music Tent, a beautiful 2,000 seat
Yeah.
venue. For a lot of reasons, we just decided to completely change it up and turn it into something what in layman's terms might be called a club crawl.
Okay.
Or something like the French Quarter Festival, or what you were describing in Boulder back in the 90s, where you could go from place to place. So
Okay.
we have 7 different venues going. Belly Up is the biggest one, and then a lot of different places. The roof of the Aspen Art Museum, which is a great new venue we use for a jazz cafe. Downstairs at the Nell, some courtyards, just a bunch of different places. But anyway, the 3 bands scheduled. The Family Stone are on Friday night. Motet is on Saturday night, and Galactic is on Sunday night. Amongst with a bunch
good
of
company.
I'm sorry.
We're in good company.
Yeah, you're in good company. It should be a lot of fun. Yeah, as you mentioned, dancing. Yeah, we're gonna have a big sign out front. No dancing allowed. No,
That's right.
no, I'm kidding. Actually, dancing.
Please, at that point, we'll be back to some normality.
We're hoping we can pack in as many people with their masks and vaccines and tests and everything, whatever it takes. But we're cautiously optimistic. We'll be gathering.
We'll be gathering.
And yes, so you are in good company, and there will be funk to the left and funk to the right, funk on Saturday.
That's great.
Yeah.
Is the group Family Stone, you said?
Yeah.
Does that happen to be with Gail? Do you know? Cousin Gail?
I don't know. I know it's the surviving members who have the catalog and have the song. I don't know if Cousin Gail is in it. I know they've got the book and they got the right band, and they don't have Sly, but everything other than Sly they have. And whoever's covering that, the other night I was actually, just as one does when they have a little time on their hands, I just happened to do a little Sly and the Family Stone refresh. And I think I went to Spotify and I went, Sly, and then boom, out came the list, and I just listened to song after song, and I was dancing like a crazy man right here, like just to the left.
Oh yeah, good. You want to show us your moves?
No, I can't do that.
We'll see some when we get up there.
Yeah, not that I'm shy. It's just that's not what tonight is all about. My dance moves. No.
I got you. Yeah. Okay.
If you're the subject. If you wanted it, because you're a drummer. If you wanted it, or for what's that? Are those like drums and shakers on the wall behind you there? Is that what that is?
My percussion collection and my drum set back over here.
Oh, do you have like a shake? Do you have a shaker array?
I got a few, yeah.
Yeah. Wait. Well, let me show you. I may be a piano player, but
Yeah, Jim.
Okay, what is this called?
Shaker array.
It is a shaker array.
Yeah, African shaker array.
Okay, pick yours up and do the right thing, because I'm just.
I'm no shaker array player.
Oh, come on. See that? That was, ladies and gentlemen, that was natural rhythm that you just heard.
Variety. I got a variety there. I like
Yeah.
to invite friends over and record. I have a lot of percussionist friends, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
So, we do a lot of playing down here and writing and recording and all that.
What's new? What's new and current? What have you been doing that's like, you're a restless man musically. So what's on the front burner here?
Oh man, well, I'm still managing to get, in addition to Motet, which we can talk about in a second, still managed to get a lot of cool side projects going. I've got this one called Carmageddon, which
Oh,
is we're taking like lots of old funk fusion tunes that we used to listen to and jazz fusion tunes that we grew up listening to and played in college and that sort of thing, and
like
making a whole set out of that.
what do you mean? Like headhunters, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, yeah, and like Jeff Beck and Return to Forever.
Nice.
Um, you know what I mean? All that fusion stuff like Schofield from the 70s and 80s mostly. It's just more challenging material, the stuff that's not necessarily so dance oriented, and putting that together for a couple of sets of music we're planning on playing next month. And then I got a show at this great venue called the Mishawaka. Do you know where that is? It's just north of.
I heard of it, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah, it's a great Colorado venue. There's a few of them, but that's iconic, just outside of Fort Collins. But we're doing 2 nights up there at the beginning of April. I think it's our first weekend open, so hopefully it won't be snowing on us.
What is
But
is that a standing room venue or a club with seats or a theater or what is it?
outdoor. It's a great stage right on the side of the Boulder River.
Oh, beautiful.
And yeah, gorgeous. And so they're fortunate enough to be able to set it up to have some socially distanced shows there going into the summer. Maybe it'll be full cap by the end of the summer. But I got Jason Hand from String Cheese playing on that one, and we'll spend time just working out drum and percussion pieces because it's so much fun. I love doing that. But that's kind of squeezing in between Motet stuff that's coming up. We're doing about a week and a half in the studio at the end of the month. Going to write a new record and come up with a bunch of new material. I don't know
is that stuff that you've been writing or you're going to write? Because I remember reading that you're in the album that you did back in 2014 called the Motet. You made a point. It was the first album that everybody wrote on.
Oh yeah.
And
that's
so
right.
and
right.
so is that still, you described it as a new era at the time. So is that
yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
still going on?
Yeah, that's still happening. 100%.
Cool.
Yeah, we went into the rehearsal space back in November and spent about a week there and wrote almost 20 songs. A lot of them are like started from one person's concept. They might have 80% done, they might have 20% done, and we just build on it from there. As you know, Lyle, our singer, isn't singing with us anymore. So right now we're doing instrumental. We're going to do a bunch of shows at Cervantes coming up, and we're going to just be instrumental group for those shows. We're in the process of finding a vocalist, and we're going to be using a lot of different guest vocalists. We had Nigel Hall sing with us on a recent track.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah, we're looking at getting Jen Hartswick to sing on a track. We're just exploring. It's actually a pretty exciting time where we're just exploring different concepts, where are we going to go musically, and also revisiting our instrumental roots. We had the last couple of records, we had like 1 or 2 instrumental songs, but we're really excited to write a lot more. And it's funny, since we announced that Lyle was leaving the group, I gotten so many people that have told me how much they love our instrumental music. So we're going to sort of satisfy that side of our fan base for a while before we settle into anything, and also look forward to when we're touring in the short term, at least, having guests, because there's so many great singers out there that we're excited to mix it up.
I feel like I've heard at some point Nigel Hall guest with you guys, haven't I? Or was that a new thing that you have not done? Has he not ever?
We haven't had him record with us, but we've definitely had him. Yeah, we put out a song recently, and he sang on the song that we released.
Okay.
But he's played with us live for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, we covered Parliament Funkadelic for 4 nights, Halloween 2014 or something. I don't know. And he was our singer.
And then I don't know who you brought, but then there was that private gig for some guy's 50th birthday up in Aspen that was really, really, really smoking party, because that was.
Was that your party?
Yeah, that was
okay. Okay.
That was back in the 2000s, and right. my wife, my recently at that point, my wife and I've been married for a few years, and there I was coming along to my 50th, so I'm you can kind of, I'm dating myself a little bit here, but I knew you well, and I said, Dave, I'd like to have a 50th birthday party, and I got a nice. My house is not too big, not too small, but big enough. And I just want to move the furniture in the living room.
Yeah.
Band in, and that's it. The party will just be the band. And we had quite a night. We had you guys took care of it. I don't know who was singing. Somebody was singing, but we had a second floor in that house. There's like kind of a balcony and upstairs there were people hanging over the rafters and on the floor.
Yeah.
Outside on the patio, and
you've had some good ones. Are we allowed to talk about your parties?
Well,
was that the house by the river or the other one?
No, that was an old Snowmass.
The one by the river was so memorable because we got to play with James Brown's band.
That's it, right here. I'm sitting in the same place. Still live. This is where we live, and it's in
that's
town.
The house there.
Yeah, it's not a house. It's a former garage. The building. It's got a very, very interesting history, but it has had through the years, both before and even after I got married. But that party you're talking about happened to be the year that James Brown came. I think it was right around 2004, right in there. It was Labor Day weekend. It was Sunday night, and you guys were on the bill earlier that day, and then we planned to have a house party that night, and it was the end of the festival, or maybe it was Monday night. Yes, it was Labor Day, and we invited the whole band and just set it up, and
here I was playing that tiny room with James Brown's bass player, and then Groove Collective horn section, and James Brown's guitar player. I was just
ridiculous.
Singers, it was crazy.
Ridiculous.
That was crazy.
You put a smile on my face to remember that was.
Man!
And I'm sitting right about where the band was set up. It's right behind me here is the piano.
The piano's still there, right?
The piano's still here, and this room just has ghosts. Good ghosts. So many nice. It's one of my favorite parts, Well, we're getting down to our digital wire here. Can't wait to see you. Hopefully everything on track. Can't think of a better band to be part of our 30th. We got a lot of great bands scheduled to come that June weekend. Take Six is coming, who's first came in 1992 here, still together. Wow. Absolutely amazing guys. Dee Dee Bridgewater.
Her too.
A wonderful Israeli clarinet and saxophone player, Anat Cohen, who's amazing. I don't know if you know her. She's tremendous. Charlie Hunter is supposed to come with Lucy Woodward if Lucy can travel. We're not. She lives in Europe.
Okay.
There's Delvon Lamar. Do you know him? Who plays the Hammond B3 organ? He's a monster. You know him?
I think so. Yeah.
Check him out. Delvon Lamar Trio, Hammond B3.
From Seattle area?
I'm not sure, but he's the only Delvon Lamar Hammond B3.
Yeah. I played with him at a festival.
young guy. He's in his 20s. Real
Yeah,
smoke.
I play with him. His band is killer.
Killer.
Yeah, I play with him.
Absolutely fantastic. Then
Yeah.
obviously you guys and Galactic and Family Stone and Monty Alexander, Harlem Kingston. Do you know Monty, the great Jamaican jazz pianist?
Oh
Jazz,
yeah.
Jamaican.
Yeah.
He's great. And you never heard Harlem Kingston Express. Write it down. Go check it out.
Okay.
It's where jazz meets reggae. You never heard anything.
Oh.
Monty's from Kingston. He's a world famous
Okay.
Oscar Peterson style jazz pianist when he's playing straight ahead, but he's got it going with fusing Jamaican music with jazz. It's groove.
Yeah.
Really,
Okay.
really happening
I'll
there.
have to come early to see all this music.
Well, the nice thing is that it's all around when you're not right in between your gig. You right around the corner, you can hear. You'll be 3 minutes from where we'll see Saturday night. I think
From the green room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. All right.
Should be good.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man.
You just gave me hope, Sam.
Yeah, man. Well, if there's hope, we'll be there.
Okay. I'll be right there with you.
Yeah, man. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Dave Watts, leader, the founder, the heartbeat, the pulse of the Motet, one of the finest funk-based dance, jazz, soul, rock, and world outfits that ever walked the face of the earth. And we look forward to watching what happens with your group going down the road. Anything you would like to say before we sign off here to our friends and listeners?
Just check us out online. You know what I mean? Go to Facebook and go to whatever you can find on Spotify and listen. Keep abreast of what we're doing, because we've definitely got some new stuff for everybody.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have Listen Ups coming next month. Jose James is going to be on the line with us, talking about his Bill Withers tribute and other things that he does. From Germany, as a matter of fact, where he's now living. And Anat Cohen, the wonderful Israeli I was mentioning. So a lot more to come. We're going to keep doing these right through May, and then we're going to get live in the summer.
Yes, please. Thank you, Jim.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
Take care, man.
Right on, brother.
See you next time.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everyone, for checking us out. Jazz Aspen Snowmass bids you adieu. Stay healthy, stay safe, and keep listening to music. Good night.